Okay, so today we're going to continue on our wonderful world of rounding. And we're going to be looking at it from the concept of here's a whole number to rounding in the tens place value to then looking at it and rounding a number in the 10th place value and then rounding a number in the 100th place value using the other different place values to decipher which way I round. So when rounding, it is important to circle the place value you wish to round and then underline the place value to the right. The value will tell you which way to round. For example, if I have the number 377, if I follow the concept that I just wanted to do by rounding the number I actually want, circling the number I actually want to round, and then underlining the number to the right, this is now showing me that I will round the tens place value by looking at the ones place value. I can also remember this by remembering the tip. Find the place and look next door. Here's the place I want to round. This is the number that's next door. So to understand the concept, you really have to break down this number and put it in terms of a number line to really explain what you're doing here. Right here we have the number 377. We know we want to round the tens place. We know we're going to use the ones place by circling and underlining it. But the number would fall between these numbers on a number line. If talking about the tens place value and the ones place value. Here's 70, that's 70. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, and 79. And 80 are the numbers between that since I'm looking to either round up a 10 or round down a 10. So these are all the numbers that fall into this place value. So now I have 377. I've circled the number that I want to round. I have underlined the number I have to look at to figure out if I'm going to round. And I can just remember this kind of saying. Find the place and look next door. Here's the place, here's next door. 5 or higher, add one more. 4 or less, I'm going to let it rest. Since I see that this is 377, I know that when I find it on the number line, it's right here. Here's 77. And I know that that 7 is higher than 5. So 5 or higher, we add one more. So when I'm writing this out, my 100 place value will stay the same, but I'm going to add one more to my tens place value. And because I've added one more, I know I'm rounding up. So because 7 is higher than 5, I'm going to go this way. So it has to be this number right here that I round up to. So I put the 0 on the end. Okay? But what if the number was a decimal? Here I have the number 3 and 77 hundredths. Okay? And I want to round to the nearest tenth. And here's what the 10th place value looks like. So I still have 3 and 77 hundredths, and I have a new number line. The number line looks very similar to the other number line I had, except now I have 7 tenths, 71 hundredths, or another way to say 77 tenths is to say 70 hundredths, 71 hundredths, 72 hundredths, 73 hundredths, 74 hundredths, 75 hundredths, 76 hundredths, 77 hundredths, 78 hundredths, 79 hundredths, and 80 hundredths. I'm going to follow the same concept that I did before. I'm going to start by find the place and look next door. I know I want to round this, so I circle it and I underline the number that's next door. That number is a 7. Okay? I'm still following the same concept except I'm going to round a different number. I look at that number and decide, is it 5 or higher? I add one more. Okay? Since this is 7, it's 5 or higher and I add one more. If I find it actually on my number line, here's 77 hundredths. I know that I'm going to round up because 7 is higher than 5. So I know that my answer has to be, since I'm going to round up and this is the last number on my number line, it's going to have to be 3 and 80 hundredths. But what if the number was 3 and 777 thousandths? It's the same concept here. Here's my number line. 77 thousandths, 771 thousandths, 772 thousands, 773 thousands, 774 thousands, 775 thousands, 776 thousands, 777 thousands, 778 thousands, 779 thousands, and then 780 thousands. It's the same concept. I want to now round it to the hundredths place. So once again, I find the place and look next door. I want to round this number since it's in the hundredths place. I then look at the number next door and I underline it. I'm following the same concept. Here's my number line, just like I had before, and I'm really trying to find out where it is on the number line. Okay, I see that 7 is 5 or higher, so I'm going to have to add one more. And when I actually find it on the number line, it's right there. That's where it is. I can clearly see that it is higher than the 5. So I'm going to go all the way over here. So my answer has to be 3 and 780 thousandths. That's how I find my answer. 7 is higher than 5, so we add one more for the place value. But what if the number looked like this? I have 3 and 773 thousandths. I want to round the number to the nearest hundredths place. Same concept. My number line is the same as before. I find the place and look next door. Here's my actual number I want to round. This is the one next door. I underline it, following the same concept. I can see that this is where I would find it on my number line. And I remember that good old rhyme from before, that since 3 is less than 4, I let the number rest. And if something rests, we leave it alone. If I'm looking, I'm going to go down this way because I'm going to round down. It's going to be, my answer will be 3 and 770 thousandths, because I'm rounding down. So there you have it. That's a quick view of how to round using a decimal, using a number line, and you're able now to explain what you did by showing that the number line is here and we're actually putting the place value of numbers on.